But then I saw what John said, and I just can't let it slide. There's a few things that John did there that are just really upsetting. First of all, why did you have to bring Puerto Rico and Carcassonne and Catan into this? Those are classic games, and they don't have nothing to do with this. Leave them alone. They're great games. How dare you, sir? How dare you? This is a game we're going to feature, and I want to ask some questions about it. You might recognize the game by its theme song. Dun 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 da 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 da. That's right. It is Dominion, Jurassic World Dominion.
No.
Oh no.
That's
no,
an
it's
IP
Dominion.
they have not done yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Dominion, the card game. Oh, that one came out a while back, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about Dominion. I'll tell you my thoughts, but only after Daniel starts us off. Daniel.
All right. Well, Dominion, it is a one of the classic deck building games. I'm sure many of you guys are aware of it. They've come out with a second edition now, so that it refreshes the whole genre and refreshes the game. But Dominion is a classic game, and it deserves all of its accolades that it has received. We can be really jaded about games in the past because they're not the new hotness, because there's things that have come out that are better, but they've just really just evolved what has already been out there. But I challenge any one of you to play Dominion and not tell me that, you know what, that was a good time. That was a good time. Because we all like deck builders. Most of us like deck builders. And if you like deck building, there's no reason you shouldn't like Dominion. The game is completely simple. It is the simplicity of it is what keeps it one of these great games at the top of its class. These other ones that have come out afterwards, they've complicated it. They keep adding more and more things, and it just gets rid of the ease and the simplicity of the game. Now, one of my favorite games is a deck builder, Marvel Legendary. That one's a little more complex with a lot of extra keywords and such. So I can understand that there is room for improvement, but sometimes you just have to go back and appreciate the original, appreciate your grandfather, and appreciate your elders. Thank you.
Daniel, let me take it from there, buddy. Yes, a little bit. Let me shatter your dream world there about Dominion, because Dominion is not. We argued if Crokinole is a game before, and I think we conclusively concluded it is not. But then we could talk about, is Dominion even a game? Because it's not really a game. It's really a mechanic, and the mechanic is deck building. And it's if you've never deck built before, it's a great way to learn how to do deck building. Yeah. But once you get past that, there's really not much there to keep you coming back. And to me, it's almost like as bad as Monopoly is. Oh, imagine if Monopoly, the main mechanic, which is roll and move, imagine if that's all you did is roll and move, and then it's the next guy's turn. That's basically what Dominion is. It's something that can be a part of a really good game, but that's all it is. It's just that part. And I unlike some of these other classic games that, once again, I'm not the big classic game fan on this show, but when I played games like Carcassonne, Catan, Puerto Rico, I do enjoy them. They're not my favorite thing, but I do enjoy them, and I could come back to them. Dominion, on the other hand, no. It's a mechanic. It's not a game. Get rid of it. It's trash. If
John,
it's trade, it's get rid of.
John, you've got those little signs, right? Have you got that one that says board game snob?
I do.
That's right.
Can you hold that up, please? Hold that up. That's right. That's you. That's you right now. Because listen. First of all,
I don't think it's your turn yet.
It is not my turn, but I got to say something. Both you and Daniel have used the term deck building. We may have amateurs in the audience that are not aware of that. They're thinking, what are they talking about? Are they talking about building a structure in their backyard?
Yes.
Maybe that.
Well, maybe if our host of the segment would have
bit.
Actually explained the game.
Boom.
I thought I was supposed to wait till the end to explain. Whatever.
Not to explain it.
Okay. Chris, let's hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I was there for you with you a minute there, Andy, but then Daniel wrecked you. I'm sorry. And honestly, John, like I can't. I at first when he first said it's not a game, it's a mechanic. Like I was just like but then I kind of agree with you. But here's the deal, right? Like that's just part of our community and part of what board games are, right? Like some game will come out and it does a thing. And it changes the community. Literally, it changes the industry of the board game community going forward because that thing that game did now becomes part of all these other games in the future. So yeah, I'll agree with you. It is a mechanic, but it changes. It was so important that it changed the landscape of board gaming going forward. But even then, it's given. There's a difference in Dominion opposed to deck building in other games. Like, for example, I've tried to play. Lost the game name. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Daniel knew exactly where I was going. He knows my brain. I've tried to play that game, and Daniel was like, "Yeah, it's a deck builder plus these other things."
Great game.
So I played it, and he was like, "No, it's not exactly like Dominion. There's these other things going on." I was like, "Well, sure," but I figured, like with most games, like, okay, well, I'll start with doing this thing, and then I'll finish with this other side. And I found out you can't do that. You have to do those things the whole time, and that it's not even a deck builder. It's like an action taker. You buy actions is all it is. It's not really a deck builder at all, which ruined it for me because I love Dominion. Yes, there are some problems with it. You just run into that problem of owning all of them, and it's like, well, then now which cards do I use? And there is some problems with it as a whole. Like, it's almost like a lifestyle game, but then it actually causes a problem being a lifestyle game.
Yeah.
So it has its flaws. That's all. I can't deny it. But the pure game is beautiful. I actually played it, the original core box, no expansions, with some new people within the last 6 months. I had a blast, and they had a blast. So I still really like it. It can have its issues, but again, it changed our industry. So it will always have a special place in my heart.
There you go.
Thank you, Chris. So,
Andy, why don't you explain what the game does?
So the game is a deck builder, and I don't need to explain that to any of you. You're all beyond that. So I'm going to take issue with a couple things that were said recently here. I'll start with Chris because it's the most fresh in my mind. Lost Ruins of Arnak and a game like Dune Imperium, those are not deck builders. I'm sorry. They're not deck builders.
I agree with you. That was my problem.
Okay. Because they say those are deck builders, but you really hardly go through that deck at all. I mean, it's come on, that's not a deck builder. A deck builder is Dominion in its purest sense because you are consistently going through that deck and changing things and getting rid of chaff, and it's got its unique mechanic. Now, look, I was going to go down on the negative side of Dominion, but then I saw what John said, and I just can't let it slide. There's a few things that John did there that are just really upsetting. First of all, why did you have to bring Puerto Rico and Carcassonne and Catan into this? Those are classic games, and they don't have nothing to do with this. Leave them alone. They're great games. How dare you, sir? How dare you? Now, where was I?
Don't know.
They were better. They're better than Dominion.
Listen, Dominion is a fine game. You're right. It does thrive mostly on its unique mechanic, but it was the first one to do so, I believe. I think it was before Ascension, wasn't it? Ascension was around the same time.
Dominion was the first.
Dominion was the first, and it was awesome. I mean, we played it to death, man. We probably played the game hundreds of times when we first got it. I remember getting it in 2000, probably 9 for me. I know it came out in 08. And yeah, I played it to death. It was awesome, but it kind of did run its course. And over time, I really don't. I have a fondness for it, but I really don't have much desire to play it. I will say that one of the things that ruined it for me was playing it on online or on a phone, and that just expedited the process even faster. And that does, the digital versions of games. They do that a lot of times. They ruin classic games. I will say that I think the games that have come since that use that deck building mechanic there's some that are really fantastic. I mean, a lot of people love Clank. My favorite probably is Tyrants of the Underdark, which combines both that deck building and a little bit of area control, well, a lot of area control and exploration. And so that's probably my favorite deck builder. But anyway, Dominion. Great for what it was. It belongs in the Board Game Hall of Fame, but I could do without it now.
Yeah,
for someone that was so vehemently disagreeing with me, we pretty much agreed. So that's kind of fun.
Well, it's because you brought these other great board games into it. You're like, oh, Puerto Rico's not that great. Puerto Rico's amazing.
Whatever. So I think you, Andy, proved your own point when you said that you played this game 100 times. It is not the game's fault or talks about the quality of the game that you overplayed it. It actually speaks about the quality of the game. How many games can you play 100 times in this industry? And that is also the other strength of Dominion, is it plays so quickly that you it takes like 15 minutes. Now, I know you have Andy time, so I understand that it probably takes longer for you. But most people can play a game of Dominion in 15, 20 minutes, especially a 2-player game. And you can't dismiss how important that is for any game to give you the type of depth that Dominion does in that amount of time. It is it still holds weight, and it's still great even to this day.
I will say one of the problems I've got with it is that it started to jump the shark a little bit with all the expansions. There were so many expansions, and they happened so fast. It felt like a cash grab, which I think it kind of was. But maybe that ruined it for me a little bit too.
You didn't have to buy them.
Well, and even then, yes, 100%, you don't have to buy them, and that's kind of how I feel about this industry as a whole. I know it's really bad for all the board game makers, but you don't have to buy all the games, people. Anyways, but yeah, like that's what I was saying. Like it has issues, honestly, that are self-inflicted. Like there's so many expansions that it's like you want to own them because you're like, oh, it adds all this extra variety, but then it just adds more problems of like. What cards go well together, what's going to make a good game. It's not as curated. Like it sounds so great on the base level, but then when you start actually diving in it starts having problems because of it. So it's a very weird game. But again, when you play it straight, or even like that's what we did for hundreds of times, like Andy was talking about when it first came out, like base game straight, take out the what was it called? There was one game that made everyone have 3 cards.
The Witch. Take out the Witch.
Wasn't Witch, it was
the Rabble.
The 3 cards one?
Yeah. I don't know, whatever that one was.
Militia,
that one I hated because it was just like, do you want to make your game 50% longer? Play with this card. But otherwise, it was great.
I played with that, and my cousin was playing, and he literally, that's all he would buy. We played that entire game where our hand was just 1 card every single round. The winning score of that game was 3 points, and everybody else had like -6. It was insanity. Yeah. And wasn't fun at all. But he had a good time. He laughed maniacally.
I did play with some people that would take out the mean cards like the Witch because we don't want to hurt people's feelings. But that's whatever.
Well, actually, I'll say a couple good things about Dominion. Is Daniel brought it up? It is fast. It's quick.
There you go. Just like Ticket to
Even
Ride.
if you're not enjoying yourself, you can get it done really quick. And you can talk during it. It's a very social game. You can talk about other things. And besides that, even if you have different quality of players playing the game, a lot of times it's like, well, you got the advantage. You went after so-and-so. It's his first time playing. He set you up. You don't really set anybody up in Dominion either.
That's true.
You're playing your own game. Everybody else is playing their own game. And just let the best man win, what have you. So if you're just facilitating the game, like I said, I like to do with Terraforming Mars. I do that a lot with Dominion too. I'm just there talking with people and let me just make some good combos or something, and whatever. When the game ends, the game ends.
You know what the problem is, though? The problem with Dominion is it has been beaten to death, just kind of like we've done to this topic. So let's move on to the final segment.
All right. Well,
John,
I will say,
let's move on then.
But let me shout out to our viewers and let them know, hey, let us know what you think about Dominion. It's an older game. I'm sure you've had a chance to play it. What do you feel? Does it hold up, or is it deserve to be cast out like yesterday's chaff
or Judas?
Or Judas.
Yesterday's Judas. That's the phrase.
That's the new phrase.
Judas.
Like yesterday's Judas.
That's gonna have to be our new phrase we use.
Yeah, that's awesome. The thing. That's for sure.
All right, well, let's move on. If you enjoyed what you just watched, click on the embedded video for the rest of the episode.